This video will tell you how to master specific heat capacity questions. So, as a reminder, for heat capacity questions, we are using the equation today that energy is equal to mass times the heat capacity times the change in temperature. So if we have a look at these questions, why not have a go at them? Pause the video at any point, have a go at these questions before we go through some of the answers. And if you've not seen it already, please watch the video that explains how we can implement the FIFA method to answer these questions. So, question 1, it says the initial temperature of the liquid of the can was 25 degrees and it decreased to 20 degrees. The amount of energy transferred was 6,930 joules, and it tells us the mass of the can was 0.330 kilograms. Calculate the specific heat capacity. So using the FIFA method, we write out the formula first. Energy equals mass times the heat capacity times the change in temperature. We then insert our values. So what do we know from this question? Well, we know the energy transferred was 6,930 joules. 6,930 joules. We know the mass was 0.330. We don't know the heat capacity, but we know the change in temperature. It went from 25 down to 20 degrees. So the total change in temperature was 5 degrees Celsius. So that was 5 degrees Celsius. We can then rearrange this calculation. The F there is in the FIFA is to fine tune it. So as a reminder, we've got writing the formula, inserting our values, fine tune, which we've done here when we have calculated the temperature, and we're going to rearrange it, and then we answer it. So to rearrange this equation, it will be 6,930 divided by 0.330 times 5. And when you plug that into your calculator, it comes out at 4,200 joules per kilogram degrees Celsius. Take care when you're writing out this unit. The next question says, for one type of insulated material, the temperature of the water decreased from 85 down to 65. So there's our temperature change. The energy transferred was 10.5 kilojoules. And we are given the heat capacity. So what we've got to do is calculate the mass. So, once again, for the F in FIFA, we write out our formula. Energy equals mass times heat capacity times temperature change. We then insert our values, what we know. So, we know the energy transferred of the water was 10.5 kilojoules. Now, we want that in joules. So that's going to be 10,500 joules. As follows. Now we want to work out the mass, so we're not sure of the mass. We get given the heat capacity of water, 4,200, and then the temperature change here is gone from 85 down to 65, which is a total of 20 degrees Celsius. We can then rearrange this equation. So mass is equal to 10,500 divided by 4,200 times 20, which will then give us an answer of mass is equal to 0.125 kilograms. So, next question here. we've got the energy transferred was 155,000 joules. We get given the heat capacity of 4,200, and we've got to determine the mass. So, other thing to note here is this bit here, give your answer to two significant figures. So once again, we're going to write out our equation that we're going to use. So energy is equal to mass times the heat capacity times the temperature change. So what are we given in this calculation? What did we use? Blue for inserting our values. So for our energy going through, we knew it was 155,000. Now we don't know the mass. We get given the heat capacity of 4,200. It says use the graph above, just here. We're going to have to do that when we work out the temperature change, because here's our temperature. You can see here it ends at 100 degrees Celsius after 100 seconds, but it starts here at 0 seconds at this point here. And if we've got from 20 to 30, we've got 5 little boxes there, so each box must be worth 2. So it's going to start at 22. 100 take away 22 is key for that bit as a calculation, which is going to equal to 78. So the temperature change is 78. What we then need to do is rearrange our calculation. 1,000 for the mass, 155,000, divided by 4,200 times 78. And then when we put that into our calculator, the mass is equal to 0.4731. However, we want to answer this to two significant figures, so the mass is equal to 0.47. The next question. So a metal worker quenches a steel rod by heating it to a temperature of 900 degrees before placing it in cold water. The final temperature of the rod is 50 degrees. It tells us the mass is 20 kilograms, and we've also got information that the steel rod heat capacity is 420 degrees. So once again, let's write out our equation that we know that energy is equal to mass times heat capacity times the change in temperature. So we want to calculate the energy. The mass here is 20 kilograms times the heat capacity, 420, and we times the change in temperature. So it's gone from 900 all the way down to 50. So a total difference of 850 degrees Celsius. So there's no rearranging to do. We had to do a slight conversion there, some fine tuning in the system. But we can then just times 20 by 420 times 850, and we can get an answer of 7,140,000 joules. Or, of course, 7,140 kilojoules. Always practice your conversions where possible. But in this case here, this answer is more than acceptable. The last question here says, to heat the water in the tank from 50 to 58 degrees, the immersion heater transfers 4,032 kilojoules of energy to the water, and we are given the heat capacity of the water as 4,200, and we've got to calculate the mass. So energy equals mass times heat capacity times temperature change. Now, the energy says it's 4,032 kilojoules. Now, of course, we want that in joules. So it will be with your 3 zeros on the end. And that's equal to the mass. Now we want to work that out. And then we've got the heat capacity of 4,200. And the temperature change has gone from 50 to 58. So that's 8 degrees Celsius, that change there. We can then rearrange our calculation to work out mass. And mass is going to be equal to 4,032,000 divided by 4,200 times 8. And after we plug that into our calculator, we'll get a mass of 120 kilograms. Now, I hope this has helped you understand and to answer heat capacity questions in your mission to master this. We've got 5 examples here. There are plenty more. If you'd like me to go through some more examples, please let me know.